Hey, it's Chris. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking we don't talk about things too early in this hobby. We don't hype things up enough early enough, right? You know, I was looking at this and talking about best games of the year in November? That's way too late. So I thought, why not already at the beginning of 2025? Why don't I just tell you what the best games of the rest of the year are going to be? You don't even have to wait 9, 10, 11, or 12 months. You can hear them all right now. Right? Okay, tongue in cheek aside, right? These are my ones, though. I thought, you know, speculation, let's speculate. What do I think, prediction-wise, mark my words, are going to be the best games at the end of 2025? Now, this always has the huge caveat, right? Because some of these games are crowdfunding games, and they have to actually be delivered in 2025. So some of the things that you're going to immediately jump, you know, towards and want to shout out at the screen are not going to be on this list because I am saying that they're not going to be deliverable in 2025. A few of the CMONs, a few of the Awaken Realms, a few of those ones along those lines. These are the ones, though, that I think are going to make waves and that you're going to hear a lot of hype and hotness for. So you heard it here first, or I warned you that it was coming. For example, we'll just start off at the beginning here. I would put this on this list if I thought they were both going to be delivered. DC United. I thought that was going to be delivered in the original date of August 2025. With how far CMON is behind, I would put it on this list. It would be very high in this list. I am a high stock in terms of the United games. Period. And so as an all-in person, shame. Actually, truth be told, I play that game enough to justify the price point. Not many things in my collection I can say about that, but that is one of them, period. The other one, Grim Coven, September. Don't think we have a rule book yet, so don't have a rule book, 9 months, 8 months, 7 months away from when it's supposed to be delivered. I don't think it's probably going to be delivered on time from that aspect then, because again, usually what people say, right, is you wink wink nod nod at that date and you add 6 months. And so if you add 6 months to both of these, easily into 2026. If you're lucky. Oh, and by the way, the last update for Grim Coven, just in case you think I'm wrong, prior to me filming this, was about 5 weeks prior with, again, we're getting ready to hit the rulebook up for Tabletop Simulator. So, right, okay, I'm not totally out of left field with this one, but we're going to stay right with this if I'm already talking about Awaken Realms. You know what? Hit me up, Nemesis Retaliation. Hit me up. I think people are going to love this. But it's going to be a very niche game. It's going to be a very, if you love it, you love it. But it's got the oxygen, it's got the noise, it's got some of those things that, even with the more recent enormity from Into the Unknown, that people were kind of like, I'm not really sure I like this mechanic being in there. And Awaken Realms is not known for their restraint. They're known for the opposite. They're known for the expansiveness, the overarching aesthetic, the table presence, the thematic experience, not the, this is a super tight design with everything being super well balanced situation. Not that they're like bad, I'm not saying that, but that's not what you think of when you think of them first and foremost. So is this going to be the next or the best in the Nemesis? I don't know. Mark my words here though, again, calling my shot. I called it probably 6 months ago. Nemesis 3. By the end of the year, I would be shocked if we don't have announcement of a Nemesis 4, right? Just saying. So I think people are going to love it for what it is. One of the best miniature games of the year. Then, you know what? Let's stay with CMON and Awaken Realms here. The one I'm going to give kudos to, if they can get their pre-order situation even figured out, which I don't know, right? We've got like the Dead Keep. We've got Metal Gear Solid. We've got Cthulhu Dark Providence. We've got the Dune Imperium, or not Dune Imperium, Dune War for Arrakis, all before Super Fantasy Brawl Reborn, which again, if Super Fantasy Brawl Reborn delivers in 2025, I think you're going to see massive crowd swell, love for it as a 3-on-3 skirmish, not just brawl 'em, knock 'em out style game, but with some more nuance there. Reminds me very much of my copy of God Tier up there, even though I'm not sure it's probably overarchingly good as God Tier in the first place. I'd probably give God Tier from Steamforged as arguably, or maybe not actually arguably, Steamforge's best game, period. Fight me in the comment section down below. I dare you. So I think that has real championship potential as well for top 10 lists. Then the sleeper hit, which is not really a sleeper hit, but in the sense that like Harmonies at the beginning of 2024, by the time we get to the end of 2024 and this list comes out for people, hobby is very heavy on the Johnny come lately style of things. So Fellowship of the Ring trick taking, one, because it's early in the year, and two, because it's trick taking. I think people, again, as much as they say they maybe kind of like trick taking, again, it doesn't always show. Where are the top trick takers from the last couple of years? They're few and far between. And again, I'm a lover, but I'm very discreet in my love. That makes sense, right? Words that shouldn't come out of my mouth during a board game video. But that's going to be on my radar. I will end up with a copy here in the next month or two, and I will let you know how I feel about it. And similarly, weight-wise, I think with the trend of the duels, I think the one that is heaviest on my radar of the most potential is Azul Duel. Azul Duel is really looking like it could be very cutthroat and mean, which is exactly what I'm wanting out of a game in this regard. So I think from that aspect, it's going to be a perfect fit. And as someone who regrets getting rid of the original Azul, because that is by far and away the best Azul that has ever been made, I will fight you in the comment section down below and tell you are wrong, because they just convoluted it. Because again, I worry that Dune Imperium is going to jump the shark in the same way at some point, like Azul has, in terms of just, cash cow. So we'll see more of it from that side of things. But the dual version of it looks just outstanding from what little we know on like the 1 or 2 Instagram posts that there are. So no release date yet. Then the combo of X-Men and Outcasts from Dice Throne. I mean, I hope that Outcasts is going to be delivered, but if it's not, X-Men Missions is going to be the thing that's going to make it a cooperative blast and could easily vault it into the top 10 of the year without any problem whatsoever. And if Outcast delivers, I have serious reservations about not getting it. Not getting it, right? I will get it, is what I'm saying. I can say stuff like this on my channel. It's my channel. That's why I have so many subscribers. Anyway, but it's Dice Throne, right? I'm super excited by that, and I want to see what that can do. I'm going halvesies on the unmatched Tales to Amaze Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Could see myself getting it, could see myself passing for it, and just waiting and trading for it sometime way later. But I'm not sure if that will revamp things enough to make it on people's lists or not. So we'll kind of see. Then Clank Legacy 2, which is just finally delivering here at the end of 2024, going into 2025. Is it going to be as good as Clank Legacy 1? We'll see when it shows up at retail. I think that's going to be the big tester. And do legacy games still have the staying power that they did 2 or 3 years ago? Haven't been nearly as many. It's a trend that's, sort of gotten fewer and farther between with games and people putting them out there. So will that change things? Is it going to be the best Clank? Is it going to be one of the best legacy games, period? It's going to have to do amazeballs to surpass its previous predecessor. So we'll see what they can offer. Again, without having any spoilers, can you really, force yourself to buy it without absolutely knowing? And probably no. The answer is no. And you're going to have to wait 6 months to really kind of see the test of time. So there you go. Elder Scrolls Chip Theory, right? Big make it or break it. I think a lot of people have super high expectations for this. And I would make the argument that the basement for this game is probably one of the highest of all of these games on this list, which is why I would be shocked when the solo junkie crowd, one and maybe even the 2-player crowd, get their hands on this and make this the best Too Many Bones-esque style or chip theory game in general ever made. So the question more in that sense is similar to, say, a Root. Is it going to fit your group? I'd also make the argument that just in the most vague sense, the dynamics that this game offers are going to be very similar to something like a Heroes of Might and Magic, which just killed it again the second time on crowdfunding. And so that is sort of the stuff I see competing for table space head to head in terms of player count, in terms of overhead, in terms of monetary spent. And I think that overarchingly, the dynamics that they're going to bring to the table as hopefully a better multiplayer game than some of their other predecessors, where I would make the argument that almost all of their other games are best at 1 and, okay at 2. I'm being a little, facetious there. They're amazingly great for one player. They're pretty good for two player. I don't know too many people, always one or two in the comment section down below when I say something like this though, that play it well and enjoy it super well at 3 and 4. Again, just as a nature of the play that these games delve into. The analysis paralysis, the high strategy, the min-maxing. And so can you capture the Elder Scrolls with the solo experience in a multiplayer form? We saw it with Dead Cells. We saw it with Slay the Spire last year. So if this can follow that trend, I mean, this is, the video game IP or the IP based game to set the standard for 2025. Sleeper hit of the year. Sleeper hit of the year, Shallow Sea from Bad Comment. If you haven't been following Bad Comment, you should be following Bad Comment. Wild Serengeti, kind of, okay. And then they knocked it out of the park with Life of Amazonia. They killed it with Wondrous Creatures last year, my favorite worker placement game of 2024. And now Shallow Sea in the lines of a Calico and Cascadia-esque vibe as an abstract with a theme of underwater with a couple expansions. Slightly expensive for what it was on crowdfunding, but screw it, because I think it's going to be a sleeper dark horse for one of the best games of 2025, period, in the line of both of those. So if it's like both of those, it's going to have an audience. It's going to be almost a Harmony step up in line with those two. And again, the matching of where you're putting things down and the pattern set collection around them is going to be something you've seen before. But as I've said previously, the best things of the last half dozen years are not doing things completely and utterly unique for the vast majority. Earth, Arc Nova, things along those lines, Andromeda's Edge, they're all doing spin-offs of stuff you've seen plenty of other times in a slightly different new way. Same thing here. So Bad Comment is one of the publishers that I have to say has had the biggest stock up over the last year and a half of almost any publisher across the board, period. And what else do we have dark horse wise? I think Nature from North Star Games is going to be another one that's going to fly under the radar in a family style modular system that they've got set up for years down the line. The only thing I don't like is that the expansions, if you didn't get them on crowdfunding, are going to be, 6 months to a year after backers get them. So if you really like it, you're going to have to get a backer copy, which means that those prices are going to get significantly inflated and scalped. Or you can just wait, but then that seems counterproductive if your game is really that hot and that well thought of, to space it out that further when you could be making money off of the backs of things like we see striking when the iron is hot, which is the best thing to do if you're trying from the business side of things, I think, in this hobby, not from a consumer, side of things, customer side of things, but from a make people want to get it side of things in the first place. So 4 rounds, 5 rounds of modules, draw your cards, get new species, get new life, adapt and feed and go. The evolution of the evolution system. And I think this is going to be better. And so I'm hopeful that it continues to be in that way. And I think it could be one of the ones to watch out for in 2025 for that reason. Then again, speaking of a reimplementation of another system, Vestige, Vintage in Space, Orange Nebula. Although, again, I'm putting an asterisk on this one because I could easily see this one not getting anywhere near to 2025 because they're still pretty far behind on Spiritfire. And so I don't think that, even though sometimes these companies say we've got a separate team doing this and a separate team doing this, well, the resources are still, a little bit split in some way, shape, or form, or it's just so much. Because this game needs to be balanced in the first place, more fine-tuned than almost anything else on this list. And so if it's not, then I could see it not being as well received. And it's got a couple little module packs to go along with it. But this is one of those games where I really want this game. I really think this game could be something absolutely special if it takes more of the Euro approach with a improved twist of what Vindication did as one of the, probably 200, 100 best games of all time already. And it gets rid of the Archive of the Ancients or whatever that all-in collection was called, with the 3 big box expansions and the 3 or 4 or whatever number of modules, and it gives you all of the things that they learned with Vindication and just brings it to the table in a more streamlined, compact version. Last up, my sleeper hit. Thinker Themer covered it. I came across it right before the end of the crowdfunding campaign page. Shut Up and Sit Down endorsed it at the end of 2024. I am a backer of it. I can't wait to see if it's going to meet or exceed my expectations. And I love cooperative games. Eternal Decks. where you're fighting enemies and you have numbered cards that you have to put out in certain rows to make certain combinations of things in order to defeat the enemies to get more cards for your deck so you don't run out as you're defeating them, and you rinse and repeat and go through different scenarios, different setups, and different combinations, and it just looks absolutely fantastic from otherwise relatively under the radar designer. So I think this one has potential as one of, if not one of the best games cooperatively for me personally speaking in 2025 as well. So last but certainly not least, and there you go. That is your way too early 10 games to, well, actually 11 if we're counting, that I think could be potential your best games of the year off the top of my head. But you know what's great about this list? Is you'll have things like Harmonies that will come out of nowhere at the retail side of things. You'll have things like Slay the Spire that weren't necessarily known or thought to be amazing balls, but like thought, okay, this is probably going to be, it's going to be very good. And it turns out to be, whoa! And I guarantee you'll have a couple of these on both accounts across the board that will come out of nowhere that we will love and love talking about. So there you go. Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns down below. Again, I thought it was just a fun video to do, a little speculation, a little tongue-in-cheek, and a little bit of fun all at the same time. So poking the bear, poking our own hobby, pointing the finger at me of hyping too much up, and saying that it's never too early. At the same time, it's always too early. So there you go. If you like this, hit the sub. I have a Patreon down below. Hit me up and get some exclusive content, especially with the crowdfunding stuff. Know my thoughts as well that I don't talk about during those videos, and get the behind the scenes look at how your boy is saving you money. So there you go. Stay classy. Have a great freaking day. Hit the sub. We're going for 20K by the end of 2025. 20K. We're at 12. Can we do it? Probably not. I never go viral. So, and I'm a very niche audience, right? Yeah. People are like, oh yeah. There's a reason. Oh yeah. See ya.